actually going. Okay, thank you so much. Here we are with another hangout to help our charity water campaign, 10K on 10-1. Now we have Kyle Durand, who I consider my tax attorney dude, my business operations dude. I won't get into the ultra sports crazy athlete dude as well, but he's going to help us with different things, questions that you guys have around taxes and being a business owner. He's done a lot of great things in that space, including creating some, I guess we'll call it products or software that you can kind of go and it helps you through different things. So welcome, Kyle.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to have Max on the hangout here too.
Excellent, excellent. We do have someone with us here, Max. So Max, what kind of questions do you have? We want to get the questions rolling here.
Okay, awesome. Well, first of all, it's good to be here. And I just want to tell Kyle, congratulations on your tries on that. Was that an ultra, or how long was that? I know you.
It was an Ironman.
Yeah. That's incredible, dude.
Yeah, thanks.
I highly commend you for that. That's on my list, and I know that's a big feat to be proud of. So.
Thanks.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So hitting off with questions. I'll admit. Going into this, I feel like I don't have as many questions, but that goes to show just how much I need to know, because it's hard for me to kind of think of the specifics of where I'm at. Like I feel like there's a lot that I have that I'm not aware of in this area. So I guess one of the first questions is like, so, you know, I founded some companies, but usually what I've done before in terms of teams, there's been someone else that's been kind of like, you know, managing the accounts and doing all that type of stuff, and that's just not my specialty. Mm-hmm. So I guess the first question is, usually when I think about the finances and you know more of the business ops part of things, I know it's important. I know that I value it. Mm-hmm. I love having people on my team that can take care of that. Though I'm currently at a point where I'm building my own business, and I know that I need to value that to a point where I get it. So I guess what would you say is step one for me to almost like welcome, you know, exploring this? I'm all about exploration, so I want to dive into this. It's just like sometimes it doesn't get me as excited as I feel like it could.
And that's understandable. It's normal. I mean, you know, you think of like financial stuff and you think of it admin, and I mean people are just like, oh my god, I just this is not the stuff that gets me jazzed. This is just the stuff that I have to do. But what a way to reframe it, and the way I look at it is, this is the leverage. This is the foundation you build your business on. You know, you can't, if you start, you could have the best idea in the world, but if you build it on sinking sand, then it's not going to go anywhere. And my approach is less that, you know, come in and build this giant infrastructure for your business, you know, that can withstand anything. It's more of taking an agile and iterative approach. So, you know, what are the pieces you need to put in place to allow you to grow and go where you want? Also, you know, one of the hallmarks of the truly successful entrepreneurs that I've worked with is that they understand the value of knowing the ins and outs and the details, you know, of the business. I mean, to call yourself an entrepreneur is not just to come up with a great idea and to go do the marketing and all, you know, go do the handshakes and go to the conferences, but to be in there and to know how the systems work in and out, because if you do go hire people, you need to make sure that those people are doing this stuff right too.
Totally.
And so, you know, it's not a real people come at it and they're just like, all right, I have to do this. But what I find is once you get into it and you start like looking at what I call your money flow plan, how your money comes in and goes out, and you can start making little tweaks and stuff, it's really empowering. And it allows you to, it also, not only is it empowering, but it gets all of this ambiguity and all this stress that goes along with entrepreneurship, you know, off your back, because you can see, hey, listen, or I can see on my dashboard, here's where my numbers are, here's where I may be leaking some money, I could go plug that leak, or I need to bring in X dollars. I mean, it's really empowering to know I need to bring in X, you know, dollars this month, or, you know, my business needs to grow to this by the end of the year. rather than just kind of shooting in the dark about it. So yeah, I know that's kind of like a real broad brush at it, but I think that a lot of people also get overwhelmed by the amount of stuff, right? And I don't know if you're feeling that way, or I mean, so like, you know, you think of like legal and financial stuff, and there's just this laundry list of things that come to mind, you know, like your business entity and registering here and registering there, and, you know, intellectual property and taxes and accounting. You're just like, you know, I want to go, I'm going to go do the fun stuff and build my idea. But
it's almost like at that point, I suddenly need to go do my laundry.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's the resistance, right? The resistance rears its ugly head. But, you know, I like to boil things down to the simplest steps possible, and you know, I look at like all that stuff in 3 categories, and one is to like set up your business structure, and that means, you know, if you're going to be make decision on, you know, whether you're going to be a sole proprietor or an LLC or a corporation or partnership or whatever. So that's the first step, is set up your business structure. The second step is to implement some kind of financial system. So, you know, some kind of financial tracking system, accounting software, whatever. And then the third step is to use contracts for everything you do. And I mean, Mike laughs because, but it is. I really believe in it. It's my shtick, and what I tell everybody I come into contact with is, in your business, everybody should sign something. Like, if it's a partner, if it's an affiliate, I mean, if it's an employee, everybody should sign something. And it's not just the act of like holding something over somebody's head. It's more setting the expectations for the relationship. Because, you know, in business, relationships are going to be your most valuable asset. And it's not the document that comes out of, you know, going through the negotiations. It's the negotiations themselves that are the most important part, the most valuable part.
I do hope someone caught that on Twitter. Everyone should sign something.
That's right. Hey.
Hey, I wanted to jump back to one thing you mentioned when you touched upon the business structure. We did have a question that came in that was, how do I start an LLC, and should I hire an attorney?
My retort to that is, are you sure an LLC is the right entity for you?
How about we assume okay, go ahead.
Let me. Can I just broach this topic a little bit here?
Definitely.
So a lot of people hear LLC because they're fairly easy to start, fairly inexpensive to start, you know. But there's some administrative stuff that goes along with it, and there are costs associated with starting the entity, and not everybody needs to start an entity. I mean, the reasons I think that makes sense to start an entity when you're first getting started are that you have some sort of liability issues that you want to make sure you're covered for, because an LLC will protect your personal assets from business transactions. The second is, are you looking at bringing on partners or investors? That's another issue. So look at your growth structure, and you know, people, in my opinion, jump into it a little too quickly, and it's more of there should be a little more of a thought process that goes on. Do you really need to do it, or can you just start as a sole proprietor in the beginning? Because sole proprietors are easy. You just go. I mean, if you're going to use your own name, then you go down to the bank and just open an account in your own name, or you get a doing business as registration with usually the city. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so quick question for tax purposes, like in terms of like getting an EIN number, is a sole prop like an option for doing it? Because I know like there's tons of tax benefits that come from, you know, once you get yourself registered. And my understanding was LLC like one of the only options for getting the most benefits?
Actually, there are no tax benefits, especially if you're a one-person LLC. There are no tax benefits between an LLC and a sole proprietor.
In terms of the difference of tax benefits.
Yeah.
Repeat that one more time.
So there are no tax benefits between an LLC and a sole proprietorship, because it's very hyper technical, but all the money, the income and expenses come straight down to you as the sole owner of the LLC anyway. So what the LLC does, though, what it does and is helpful is it gives you a veil of liability protection to protect your personal assets from business transactions.
Yeah.
As the tax benefits that come from just generally running a business, so the write-offs, the deductions, those things, those are available equally to you as a sole proprietor as to you as an LLC member.
Kyle, what is the website that you and Nick created for entrepreneurs that helps them with write-offs and those things? I think it's an excellent thing to share with the people at this time.
Yeah, sure. If you go to taxreceipts.com, we create this guide to all the common tax deductions and generally the things you would need to make sure you keep in order to take those deductions. There aren't a lot of good tax shelters left. I mean, the government kind of gutted all those, but one of the best ones is a business. So you can write off all kinds of stuff in the name of your business or in the name of doing business that make a big significant tax difference at the end of the day. And one of the myths that I get a lot, or that I try to counteract a lot for entrepreneurs, is, hey, all that tax stuff, it's just an expense. I can't really save any money by paying attention to it or by doing any tax planning. And it's just not true. I mean, I've worked with people starting, in their first year of business where they've had a $20,000 swing by doing a little bit of tax planning at the end of the year, or by tracking their expenses or their financial records properly. I mean, 20 grand, that's not chump change.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's chump change for you.
No.
Nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's absolutely not.
Right.
And as a quick one on that, so to get the benefits from getting write-off, you do need to be set up as a sole proprietorship or as an LLC. You do want to and need to want to do one of those steps to receive or be able to gain those benefits, right?
Yes. So if you're as a sole proprietorship, there's really nothing you need to do in order to start a business as a sole proprietor except just start doing business. There are some city requirements, like cities may have licensing requirements. If you're running a business, say you're running a business out of your apartment or whatever, there may be licensing requirements for that. There are also requirements if, let's say, you're running a business. Let's say I'm running tax receipts as a sole proprietor. I'm putting myself out there, my business out there as tax receipts, so I need to register that name as a doing business as a trade name. But the way that you do take advantage of those deductions is by tracking all of your income and expenses, and that's where I came up with the idea of the money flow plan. And okay. the money flow plan is essentially you set up one node that you track all of your business income and business expenses to and from, and that node should be a separate bank account.
Say more. When you say separate bank account, you're saying, hey, basically the stuff that you and your honey share shouldn't be the business account.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think that my take on it, and this is from working with untold number of entrepreneurs and also representing a lot of people in audits with the IRS and with the states. A separate business banking account is your best friend. I mean, it just makes things so much easier because you can watch what's coming in and what's going out, and there's no question if you keep it clean that all of that is business related. So you know what you're going to have to report for income, and you know what you can deduct for expenses.
So that would be anything that's related. And would you encourage doing a separate bank or just a separate business account?
No, actually, I would just do a separate business account. I mean, it actually makes it easier if it's with the same bank, because then you can just link the accounts and you can make let's say you want to pay yourself, you just make a transfer over to yourself. And one of the key parts of this in setting up this money flow plan is, separate bank account. That's the first part. The next part is getting some sort of accounting software and linking it in there. And accounting software is cheap. I mean, there are a bunch of options. It's outright.com. It used to be free. I think it still is. Wave Accounting is another one. That's another free software accounting solution. It's great because you just link up your accounts to the accounting software, and it just pulls all the data in for you. So expenses and income. It makes life really easy.
Okay.
So it's a cheap and easy step that a lot of people don't take.
Okay, I'm making note of this, and I'm sure everyone else listening is as well.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to transcribe this and make sure that the people get this. I had a question around the paying yourself. So let's say you're making a little bit of money in your business, and it's a sole proprietorship, and now it's Christmas time. You want to buy something for your honey.
Yeah.
Now, the money that you've been making is not in the honey account, especially since you want to surprise them. How does that work? Of course, this is not my situation. It's a friend who asked me this.
Right. Of course.
Friend of mine.
Yeah. So
now the honey's watching. She's going to be expecting a big Christmas gift.
See, this is another great. So you set up your business account, and then you set up your honey, your personal account away from your honey. No, but in all seriousness, people, that's one of the big questions. They're like, okay, I've got this business banking account. I'm doing great. I've got my accounting software set up, and they're like, when do I get any money here? I mean, all the money's sitting in the business account. What can I touch it? And the answer is yes. You can touch it. It's just a matter of when you move that money over in your accounting software, just make sure you code that as an owner draw. That's an important part. So you can take that out. Any money that goes that comes into your business, you're going to get taxed on anyway. So you can pull that money out as you need, and then you don't have to worry about making sure that that money is sacrosanct, and you can only take it out on at the end of every month or whatever. You can take it out when you want. Just one of the things that a lot of new entrepreneurs get tripped up on, and this happens just so often, is that they go from being employed, where your employer takes a piece of your paycheck every month and pays taxes on it, right, for you, to being self-employed, where nobody's taking those taxes out, and so at the end of the year, they haven't been paying any taxes, or they haven't been setting any money aside for taxes, and then April 15th rolls around, they've got a giant tax bill. So there are a few things you can do to mitigate that or to avoid that issue. One is to set aside 15% for taxes. That's something you can generally expect to pay. That's the minimum rate, and just put that in a separate account. Like, I'll have a separate business account for taxes, and you can put that aside. Another one is that everybody who's self-employed and expects to owe $1,000 in tax is supposed to make what are called quarterly tax payments. And so once a quarter, you're supposed to send in some money to the IRS. And I'm not going to go into all the issues right now, because people's eyes roll in the back of their head, and it's the middle of the night. And no, but I wouldn't want to do that to my worst enemy. But one thing to look into,
considering the government's closed right now, I don't think we have many issues.
There you go. There you go. You know what? The first thing they're going to do, though, is they're going to turn on the IRS when they do start again.
That's right.
That's where they get their money.
Exactly.
But one of the traps that I find a lot of entrepreneurs fall into is that they go from being employed, where their employer pays their taxes, that tax part for them, to not withholding any money for taxes, and then they get surprised.
Excellent.
Thanks for that. I had one more question, but Mike, go ahead and add to that if you had.
Well, this one may take a little bit of a turn, so we'll see how it goes here.
Okay.
And the question came in, and it says, "When I start my business, how do I go about getting health insurance?"
Well, yeah, it's a good question. Given the way things are changing here with the Obamacare, there are some health insurance. What do they call them? Like almost like co-ops that you can go to, and these companies market to people, and you can shop around for different health plans. There are also a lot of the big health care providers or insurance providers. They provide plans for business owners. I live in the where the corporate headquarters for Costco is, and Costco even has healthcare insurance. I mean, so there are a lot of places you can look, but I would say start with some of those the new healthcare markets, insurance markets. As a self-employed person, you can deduct the premiums you pay for healthcare. Or health insurance. I'm sorry, health insurance.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're protecting the asset of yourself right there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny. Jenny Blake, who's going to be on here later, I think. She had this. She told me this. It's always stuck with me. She said, "You have to take care of yourself as an entrepreneur because if you're at 50%, your business is at 50%. If you're a sole proprietor."
That's a great point.
So.
Cool. So my question, so you talked about the 1, 2, 3 for you, setting business structure. We dove into that a little bit. Use a contract for everything you do. I'm sure we could dive more into that. But I'm more so curious about implementing some kind of financial system.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a little bit with your money flow plan, but I guess my specific question is on a day-to-day, or I guess at least a week-to-week, what should I, as a solo entrepreneur or anyone else for that matter, be focusing our attention on? Because for me, the biggest thing is just attention. And I have it on my calendar that once a week is my money management day.
Yeah.
But I almost don't have anything that I'm in my mind to do other than check my bank accounts.
Yeah.
So it's I feel like I should be spending at least an hour doing this, but I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing during that hour.
Yeah. Well, you're so far ahead of the game just scheduling that hour. I mean, really.
It's on the calendar. The notification comes up.
Well, I'll give you some stuff to do. I'll give you some homework to do here.
Cool, man. I'll take it.
So, the first step is to go set up your business bank account, right? Your separate business bank account. The second one is to hook up your accounting software to that account. And if you have any business credit cards, hook them up to that. Hook up your PayPal, anything that relates to your business to that accounting software. And then once a week, you should go into that software and make sure that the transactions are being categorized properly. So if an expense comes out, and you can go to tax receipts and see the general types of categories for expenses, make sure that those are being categorized properly. Because what you do is you're training the software, so when it sees that expense come up again, then it'll automatically assign it to that category. But even after it's been trained, you want to go in and batch those and make sure it's categorizing everything correctly. And so it doesn't take a whole lot of time. But here's another crucial piece that people miss out on. This is the number one. This is what I call the number one tax myth. So people think that if you have a business credit card and you charge everything on the business credit card, then you don't need any receipts. And I mean the myth is rampant. I don't know if you've heard it. Either of you have heard that, but
that your bank account will show that you went to get gas or you went to get food at XYZ, so you don't need the receipts.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll give you a hypo. Let's say Mike goes, he takes his business credit card and he goes to Best Buy and he spends $1,500 at Best Buy, and on his business credit card. And then IRS knocks on Mike's door one day and says, "Hey, let's see your books." And hey, you went to Best Buy. What'd you get at Best Buy? Well, I got a computer and I got some printer and stuff. And all right, let's see the receipt. Well, I don't have it. IRS is going to say, well, we're going to assume you bought a TV.
Wow.
So you don't get to take that deduction for $1,500. What your credit card, your bank statement shows is you went to Best Buy and spent $1,500. What it doesn't show is what you spent it on, and that's what the receipt shows.
So on that, and I feel like mutual friend of all of ours, like Mike Krasowski, like, you know, he's talked to me and shown some resources, like, you know, taking a picture of the receipts,
Yeah.
you know, using an app to save that. So you're saying that's one thing to be like taking pictures of them on a weekly basis, or that's more so do it on at the moment kind of thing? That's more of a day-to-day, right?
Yeah, I do it. Every receipt that comes into my possession has a shelf life of, you know, like 15 to 30 seconds, because it comes in, I take a picture of it, and then I toss the receipt. Electronic copy of the receipt is as valid as a paper receipt, as far as the government's concerned.
Okay.
One of the services I recommend highly is, and I don't have an affiliation with them, is shoeboxed.com. And so what I do is I take a picture of the receipt with my my phone. I just email it to Shoeboxed, and then I forget about it. And it goes into Shoeboxed. It gets categorized. I can pull that receipt anytime I want. You know, if anybody calls me on it, or even if I shred the receipt and then I'm like, I need to take that thing back, I can just pull the receipt down from Shoebox.
And is this something you use for personal stuff or just your business stuff?
Generally, I just use it for my business stuff. My wife is hypervigilant, so she does personal stuff. If we have big expenses, personal expenses, we'll use Shoebox. We have a personal account with Shoebox as well. One of the big times that this comes in handy is when you're traveling. A lot of us travel a lot for business, and there are all kinds of expenses that get missed. You know, let's say you go out to dinner. You're at a conference. You go out to dinner. You sign you pay with your credit card. The receipt gets lost. That deduction, you just lost that deduction.
Yeah. I'm just like, right now, just as a personal example, like I'm on a 10-week complete work tour, and everything I feel I could be using as a deductible, and I have no system in place to do any of it. So like, I'm trying to keep receipts, and it's a bit of a mess already.
Yeah. I mean, in 10 weeks, you're gonna like have this mound of paper at the end of it. So yeah, electronic copies.
Okay,
hey guys,
I'll check it out.
I have to interrupt because we're at time, and I must say, Kyle, you have really provided us with a lot of information, awesome information. I'm so glad that you agreed to be here with us. And pretty much what I've been saying at the end of each of the Hangouts we had so far, all two of them, is really the great opportunity we have here. Not only are we helping to bring clean water to the people of Orissa, India, through the charity water campaign, but we're also bringing this knowledge to people. I had that revelation today that I'm bringing this knowledge to my peeps, and it's powerful because we're getting two things done at the same time. We're helping bring clean water in the world, and then we're helping to bring like clarity to people with the powerful speakers that we have. So I'm honored that you said yes to be part of this. And I'm so glad that all the people get to benefit from your knowledge, your experience. So I think some way I'm going to have to get more information from you and share it with the world, man. You're like the best kept secret over there. So thank you all for being here, and have a great night.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks, Max. Thanks, Mike.
Peace. I think you have to hang yourself up.
We're still on air?
Oh, hold on a second. Let me see here.
Kyle, appreciate everything. Hey, hope you feel better from your surgery, man.
Hey, thanks, Max. Hey, thanks for showing up in the middle of the night for this.
I know.
The guy is a trooper.
Yes. All right, let's see here. Give me 1 second, even though people can hear this. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Kyle. And we will. Oh, can't hear you for some reason. Just blocked you out.
Oh, thanks.
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks for having me on, Mike. And good luck with the rest of it.
Thank you so much, man. Have a great night.
All right, take care.
All right, peace.